I'm sure you probably remember the story, a few years back, where an alert was sent to people in Hawaii. You remember this? Telling them that there was an incoming missile. And it was a Saturday morning. Saturday morning, like any other morning for those people. Some tourists waking up, getting ready to hit the beach. And some people waking up early on Saturday morning, a little bit hungover from Friday night. Some parents getting up, getting their kids up, ready for the soccer game. Some people getting their kids ready for the soccer game a little hungover. There are all kinds of people, right? Saturday morning, scrolling through their phone. Suddenly there's an alert that pops up on the screen. It looks something like this. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, seek immediate shelter. And just in case you think this is a drill, it's not a drill. And for 38 minutes, they were very much focused on preparing themselves for the end of their earthly lives. For 38 minutes, things that really mattered, really mattered. For 38 minutes, they had some clarity. For 38 minutes, they began to ask themselves some questions about their existence and about life on earth. And I read this article that tracked some of the texts that went back and forth during those 38 minutes before they found out it was a mistake, before they found out it was not real. Lots of I love yous, lots of please forgive me's, lots of trying to make things right. Messages went out to alienated family members. Lots of people panicking, lots of people trying to control things that they had no control over, lots of people repenting, lots of people praying. For 38 minutes, they had their eye on the sky. When's it gonna happen? Could be any moment. And so for 38 minutes, they asked themselves questions that maybe they should have been asking themselves for years. Questions like, what kind of impact have I had with my life? How am I gonna be remembered? What conversations have I not had that I need to have? What decisions do I need to make that I haven't made? Am I right with God? Am I ready for eternity? Questions that needed to be answered, but time was short. And so this week we're continuing in our series called Keep Watch, and that's the spirit with which I want us to approach the series, this spiritual alertness, this recognition that we don't know how much time we have left, and so we want to ask ourselves hard but important questions, and we don't want to be lulled into this spiritual sleepiness where we don't think about what really matters and we don't stop and consider that today could be the day that we stand before God. So in Matthew 24, it's where the phrase keep watch is found. The disciples of Jesus come to him and they say, hey, Jesus, talk to us about when this is gonna happen. When will we see the fall of Jerusalem and when will we see the end of the world? And they kind of ask it as one question because in their minds, they couldn't envision the fall of Jerusalem happening and it not be the end of the world. So Jesus answers both their questions, but we're not exactly sure which parts of Jesus' answer applies to the fall of Jerusalem and which parts of his answer applies to the end of the world or to his return. And so Jesus makes these statements in Matthew 24, and he concludes by saying this: it's not for you to know. No one knows the day or the hour. Now, some people read that and they're like, oh, do you notice that? Jesus said it's not for you to know the day or the hour, but he didn't say it's not for you to know the month or the year. As if Jesus is playing these word games and giving us a riddle to solve. Like that's not what's happening. No, it's really not for you to know. And instead, he wants them to live with this continual state of awareness. He does make it clear in Matthew 24 that leading up to his return, there'll be some birth pains, there'll be some disasters and some suffering, and there'll be some challenges and struggles. And sometimes this word in eschatology, study of the end times, is called tribulation. It just means pain, suffering, trouble. And Jesus speaks of great tribulation, or specifically what he calls the abomination that causes desolation. Now, what is that? Well, lots of speculation over the years. I think at least part of that would be fulfilled in the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. But what's Jesus mean by that? Well, he gives us a little clue where he says, Daniel talks about this. Oh, okay. Flip back over to Daniel. Daniel 12, verse 1, he talks about the end times being a time of distress in a way that the world has never seen before. But then in verse 4 of Daniel 12, Daniel's told, but you, Daniel, roll up and seal these words of the scroll until the end. Well, what's that mean?